Hey everyone, for this demo, I'm going to make a cushion. It's going to be about the same as the pillow, maybe a little bit more complex in some areas or a little bit easier in some others, but it should be pretty easy for you guys to handle. For this, I do have a reference. It's a very basic reference of a cushion. I'm not going to make it one-to-one. I am going to make it kind of similar to this. So that's just a reference. I would have it on my other screen. So to start off, I'm going to do the base just like I did with the pillowcase. It will be just a square. I'll just drag it out. Same thing as the pillowcase. This is the back side. It's a little darker. This is the front side since the camera is facing forward. I'll just select it. I'll rotate it so it's flat. I'll move it down to the ground and over. This is just getting you used to the tools. Basically the same as the pillowcase. So it's just another fun little task to make while learning the tools. First, let's just make it simulated so it just hits the ground. So that's the bottom. So to make the corners round, I want to go to the edit round corner option, which is up here. Select it. And then I could just round these corners. I want this to be the front, so I'll make it about that, and I'm not going to be precise about making these edges all the same, and then the back will just be a little softer. So that would be the base of the pillow. I want to adjust this because this is too perfect. I want to make it a little bit tighter of an edge. So after I round out the edges of the corner, I would copy this, just like last time, paste it to make the top of the cushion. There we go. Gotta flip this vertically, flip this one horizontally. So they're both lined up. So then I'll just move it down. I'll make the cushion about this thick. Just select the bottom edge here and this one to see where they line up. It all depends on your preference. So I'm going to rotate this to get this lined up better. So to rotate, you go to the second option here, and then at the top right, if you hold shift, you could just drag and then snap it around. I just want to have these lined up. This side is lined up with this. So if you just select on the mesh, you'll get a blue vert selected and a blue vert here. So I know these are lined up. So I want to make the thickness going around. First, I want to get the length of it, which is 1578.93. Since I got that number, I'm going to just use the polygon tool again and then make the thickness for it. So the width would be 1578.93 and the height, say, 50. That's about right. Let's make that a little bit thicker to match up. So select it, move it down, and rotate it. I want to put the actual seam to this in the back side, one of the back corners, so whichever corner you want. So that's about right. So just like everything else, I want to add the black verts on the bottom just so I could use the fold arrangement option to rotate it around. At first, I'm going to split the bottom edge of this. So that's the correct edge, and that is the bottom edge. Let me just line this up to how I want. So if I go here and go in here, it'll be next, here, and then here. So you could line this up however you want. I just make it to try and make sense for where I'm placing everything, where I start the mesh. So I'm just going to move it, and there we go. So now I'm just going to add all the black verts around the edge to match up the length here. You could do it very precise by selecting the edges. So this is 4161. Select the add edge, select it here, and then 4161. And hit OK. Select the next edge, 296.41, 296.41. Get the next edge, 155.41, 155.41. Next edge, 218.99, 218.99, 156.42, 156.42. 299.64, 299.64, 33.39, 33.39. And that's all the edges around. So now after I added all the edges, I want to add the internal lines to just loop this around. I don't need to add as many internal lines, so I'll just add them in a few areas just so it loops around. There I need one, and then probably there I need one. I'm going to add actually these. These are just reference. I'm most likely going to delete them. And then if I select the fold arrangement option, you can select it, and you can rotate it on. So when I simulate it, it's not going to go all crazy when it simulates. It's going to make it a little bit more accurate. And I need one more internal line. And there we go. And then just line that up a little bit better. Let me move that up. So that lines up okay, and now I can delete the internal lines. They were just used as reference to rotate on. select the whole mesh and change the particle distance from 20 to about 15, just to give it a little bit more density. And now I can stitch everything in. I'll start off with the side and the side. So that would be the side of the cushion. I just want to stitch the left side to the right side. As I go here, I know I have this lined up, so just going with the front. The dash is always in the front. And if you just slide that up, double check and make sure it's all lined up. That's all good. I'm going to stitch the top with free stitching. So just want to make sure this dot is lined up with this side. So this will be a little bit more trickier since it's not lined up one to one. So I'm going to start at this edge, the bottom edge, and just go forward. Pretty much you're just continuing the pattern around. So after I add those all, I can probably just move it and just double check. It's all good. I'm just going to put a little pressure on this just because it's a cushion and I don't want to just die flat. So I'll give it 2 for now and just see how that goes. And now simulate. Okay, so that's not too bad. I probably could use a little bit more pressure. So let's go with 3, and I want to give a little bit more thickness. And move it up. There we go. And a little bit more pressure. There we go. So this is the overall shape of the cushion I want, so I'm just going to save this. So after I make the basic form, I want to always save it at some point. I try to save it at landmark spots where I know I can remember what I'm doing. So this is the base of the pillow, and I have a directory already set up. I'm naming it cushion, I'm naming it 01, so I know this is the start, and then I'm just putting a little tag on it to know what it was. So this is just the base of the cushion. So I want to add the buttons on the cushion, so I'll go up to internal lines and just add all those. So I'll just drag out one circle with the internal line, and then now I'll just eyeball where it is exactly. I'll put one there, and then I'll just copy and paste it 4 times around. I'll try to line it up somewhat. I'll use these as guides, basically. So that lined up about right, and that's about right. And then I'll just line those up approximately there. Copy that, then paste it, and then hold shift and get the ones in the back. Let me select these. These are a little too far forward. Now I'll just replace them how I want. Move them a little bit closer inward. And then, there you go. I'll copy all of these to put them on the bottom. Control C, Control V, and then just put it on the bottom. So at this point, I could hide this. I don't want to see this at the moment, so that's Control Q. So now I want to get these to pull downward into the cushion. So I usually add a little piece of cloth to pull it in to fake it. So just select it, get the link, so it's 79.2. I'm going to make the width of it 79.2. So just click it, 79.2. And the height, I don't want it the same height as the side of the pillow. So if this is 100, I want it to be about half-ish. So 58 is about right. So I'm going to stitch this in. So this will be what pulls the pillow into those button areas. So let me just rotate this, move this into place so I could see a little bit better. So here I just want to make sure which one I'm lining up with, this one and this one, so it's these two. So let me move this down here so I could actually compare them better as I weld them in. So let's weld these in. So I want to weld the bottom in with free stitching. So as long as I start with a point, I just continue around, just like last time. Free stitching makes it so much quicker than measuring out everything. So right now it's all stitched in there. I know it's correct. I just have to rotate it around to get a little bit better viewing of it. So I'm just going to add internal lines to use the fold arrangement option again. So copy that, paste it, paste it. And these are just reference guides again. So I'm just going to rotate this, make it into basically a cube to understand. There we go. Select this piece and then change the particle distance up to 15, and now I can delete these lines again. They were just reference. So let me line this up and then rotate it so it works. So I want to simulate it to see how it actually holds in here and pull it up. I want to freeze pretty much everything but that. So I'll freeze all this. I don't want to affect any of that just yet. And also, I'm going to pin the top of this so it stays where it is. So now simulate it. Okay. And then I noticed I didn't stitch the side, so just stitch the side in. And there we go. So now I'll unpin all these, hold Control, and then just drag out with left mouse button to unpin everything. And I'm going to pin the bottom now, because I don't want to mess with this. So, and now repin the top, and then I could move this up into the area. This is just more to see where it's going to pin in, or stitch in. Alright, that's about right. So I need to stitch this into the top now. So I'm going to just select anywhere on the mesh to make sure this is lined up with that one. Now I'm just going to stitch in. So just going in order again. Let's see if this works. So far it works. Select the next one, and yeah, it's going in order. And I should now be able to unpin these. So yet again, hold Control, left click, drag out, unpin those, now simulate, and it's in there. Unpin everything, and it should be fine. Shift W unhides everything, so now I just want to show everything and unfreeze everything and see how this looks. Cool. So the one button is now getting pulled in how I want on both sides, so I'm just going to repeat it through the other 3 buttons. I'm going to just do it very quickly now. I want to just copy this and then paste it 3 more times. So I'm just going to copy it, paste it, and now I'm just going to stitch them all in. This one to this side is next. I'll hide this again, Shift Q, and I'll just put this one into place. And the next one, I'll go into this back one. I'll just line it up, and this one, I'll line up back here. As you stitch it in, just make sure they don't get all twisted and tied. So as I free stitch it, I just look at it first. So if I do this, that's about right. So then I'll just continue it around now. So all the bottom are stitched in now. And let me try stitching the top. So start off with this again. See which one I got first. That's a little twisted. That's not the one I want to weld in first. So, alright, that should be right. So now I just continue it around. The top is always a little bit more tricky, trying to find exactly which one I want to weld. I want to weld this one into this one. There we go. So if I hit simulate now with the piece on the side still hidden, you can see how they function. They're just pulling it down. So let me unhide everything, Shift W, and there we go. Let me change the pillow cushion pressure because it's getting a little bit flat right now. I'm going to move these up out of the way. And I'm going to save again. I'm just going to save another one, which is the detail part. So I'll name this number 2, and then I'll just say this is when I start doing details. So right now it's a little flat, so let me just select it all and change the pressure up to 20. Let's see if that helps out a lot. There we go. That's a lot better. So now the side, I want a little bit more pressure to it. So it pulls it down. More pressure, it'll just squish. It'll push this out, which makes it tighter, so this side will get pulled down. So there we go. There's a simple cushion so far. I don't have any of the details on there yet. There we go. So at this point, I could add the piping to go around the pillow. So I could just use the options up here. So I'll just select where I started here, make points as I go to make it fall around the curve, and then end it, and then do the same for the bottom. So select start at the bottom and then just rotate it around. And now let me change the color of the fabric so I can see the piping a little bit better. Make it a blue soft cushion. And now select the piping, select both of those, and I want to make the thickness a little bit higher. Let's go with 5, let's go with 7. So it's more noticeable. Change the particle distance down to 1. So far, it got the overall shape of it. I'm going to add the buttons now, just very simple mesh. I'm just going to make a little circle to put on top. I'm going to make a different fabric. Up here, you start off with a default fabric. Let me start a new fabric for the cushion. So let me just name this cushion. And then just drag this onto everything. I could select everything and then just drag it on. Reset default back to white. For the cushion, I had a soft baby blue color. So now I can see all the details and stuff. For the button, it's just going to be a simple circle. I'm going to change the particle distance down to make it match everything else and just rotate this into place. Now that I have this, I'm going to stitch this in just the top ones. So I'm going to make 4 of these, copy and paste them. There's those, and the back ones are these. So the back ones I'll just slide down. I made them a little bit bigger because I want them to feel like buttons, so I'm going to make the pressure a little bit stronger. I'm going to add a new material to them to make them very tight. So let me name this fabric buttons, and I'm going to change the preset to leather belt. Leather belt is very stiff, very strong. This is more just to lock them down to get the form better. Let me just stitch these into. Hopefully going in the same order, it'll be fine. I don't need to use free stitch for this actually. I could just select it and just weld it in. And then the blue one is reversed. Let me select the edit sewing option and then just hover over it, and then I could select the blue line and reverse sewing, and then there, it's fixed. And then let me weld in this last one. And there we go. So after they're welded in, let me just hit simulate. So I'm going to freeze everything and just work on the buttons. So freeze this, and let me just pull them out first. And we use the pins to pull them outward. The pressure might be a little too much. Let me change that to 5. And then delete. That one looks fine, that one looks fine, that one looks fine, that one looks fine. So let me unfreeze everything. Simulate. Now the buttons are a little too big, so let me scale those down. And let me scale these down. So this would basically be what I would pull into ZBrush. I could probably add more wrinkles going along the side, but for now I could just sculpt those in or just use this as a reference. So let me move the particle distance down to like 12 to give a little bit more detail. Let me freeze the buttons first so they don't move. Alright, let me save this as the details. So everyone, I want to add a little bit of wrinkles on the side. So to do that, I want to fake it by stretching this out. You're going to have to do it step by step so it doesn't just explode on itself, because when you just make it longer, it just makes the one edge longer. So I'll just make this, I'll just first select everything else and freeze everything else so nothing else moves. And then as I make this longer, I'll just simulate it, make it a little bit longer, simulate, make it longer. I just made it a little bit longer. I'll just unfreeze everything just so you could see everything together now. Let me try something. If I select all of these edges and then I put elasticity on them so it doesn't lose the form with the pressure. So strength, I'll put like 1. Pressure might be a little too much now. 20, 10. And now it's a little bit too high, so let me make it a little bit smaller. And now the pressure on these are a little too much. These actually don't need any pressure. And then the bottom cushion, let me change this to 10 instead. So there you go, guys. You got a little bit of wrinkles on the side, a little bit on the top. I could probably make these a little bit shorter so it pulls it inward a little bit more. Now it just all comes around to your opinion, how you want to make it look, how much more work you want to do in ZBrush, how much detail you want to do here and there. But these are just very easy demos for you guys to do to get accustomed to Marvelous. Feel free to make more complex cushions, easier cushions if you want. Just get comfortable with using the tools and functions. Use as many tools as you can to just get used to it. Have fun and see you next time.